Hello, today I wanted to talk about the kind of conflicted nature that people feel about Tekken 8. Tekken 8 is a great game that's had a lot of great changes with Season 2, but there's also certain aspects of it that simply aren't going to change. Heat, chip, couple of life, if you like those things or not, they're going to remain in the game, and that's to the joy of some or the chagrin of others, but as a result, it's a completely different Tekken game, to those in the past. Obviously, it's, still got plenty of the meat that makes Tekken what it is, but it's also got lots of different things. And so, since the game has changed so much, it's, and it causes, some people to be upset. Sometimes you'll hear people say things like, well, why don't you just play a different game, play something else, play a different fighting game. And there's certainly other great fighting games out at the moment, but the reason that people play Tekken and, we play whatever games we do is because we can't get that experience anywhere else. Especially in the 3D fighting game space, Tekken's really the only relevant game out at the moment. At least, as big as, at the same level, In the 2D space, Strive and Street Fighter, Grand Blue, there's multiple big 2D fighting games, but there's nothing quite like it for Tekken. So, that's one reason to stick around. But I think, really the bigger reason is just that, people do still love this game underneath, warts and all. You may not like heat and all that, but, the 3D movement is still there. The side step's even better than Tekken 8. You're still creating whiffs and punishing, and the things I love about this game, the characters, the music, and just how the combos feel is more enjoyable than any other fighting game for me, so that's why I continue to play it. And so that kind of causes the conflicted feeling of, there's so many things about this game that I find to be frustrating, but underneath it all is the game I love, and, some people also have other motivations with it. You might have a local tournament you show up to, and now these are the people, this is kind of your social group, and they're all playing this game as well. And so it's not so easy to just move everyone to something else. Inevitably, some people will like the game and some people won't. And trying to convert everyone to a brand new game would be far more difficult. So, that's why I think people stick with it. And even if there's things they don't enjoy, I was just thinking with Bryan here, he's got this new string 4-1 that I think just really kind of took a lot of the joy out of his combos. You can just do 4-1 a couple times here in this string, and that's big damage. It's actually the same damage as the old combo he would do, which was the double knees after the jet upper. I'm probably not going to hit it, but I'm just going to edit it out to make it look like I hit it first try, and if not, I don't need to. But, that combo is harder, requires a dash up, chord circle input, not crazy difficult, but it requires something. And now you can just do, 4-1 plus 2, a couple 4-1s, and boom, you're there. And, this makes the character a lot more consistent, but I think it also makes him less interesting. There's less execution required, and if you take all the execution out, then the character is, I think you're kind of ruining and missing the point of what the character was to begin with, especially with a character like Bryan, who's, have crazy execution stuff. And yeah, those are things I don't like about Bryan, but at the same time, I'm reminded of things that I really do think are super cool. The fact that he can do a taunt after, not there, we're going to edit that one out as well. The fact that he can do a taunt right after his heat knockdown and then into a rage art, I think is super cool because that's a combo opportunity that requires some execution, and it's not something that really anyone else has access to. And so I think that's one of the things I think is really cool. And I think Tekken 8, is just full of decisions like that. It's full of decisions where you think this is such an awesome change to this character. I love that they went in this direction. And then there's other changes where you just can't imagine why they would possibly do this. Dragunov is another one for me. I love doing sneak loops, but there's not as much reason to do it in the Tekken 8 just because you have moves that kind of cover the same distance as a sneak loop and are more damaging and a lot easier. So, why would I do a bunch of forward 3 sneak cancels when I could just do something like 4-4 because it doesn't bound in this game, and this, and then, I don't have to do any forward 3 sneak cancels there because the moves themselves have so much damage and wall carry that there's no point. And so that's something that I don't enjoy about Dragunov, but again, the Dragunov that I like, this stuff, you can still do it, and there are applications for it. You'll get maybe a float with a jab, and then it turns into a huge wall combo, or a huge wall carry combo. Those things are still in the game, and that's why we play because we want to experience those things that made us fall in love with the game, regardless of the current issues we have with it. So I guess just the moral of the story is, it's not as simple as just saying, oh, if you don't like it, don't play it, because there's lots of things to like about it, and nothing's perfect, and so we just have to deal with it. And no one's playing Fatal Fury, so we're sticking with this.